I'm in a class of my own. If I got beef with you, you the last one to know. I arrive on time, I'm never fashionable. You late, I'm already international. I done twirled in Berlin, banged to Beijing. You never seen nothing, can't say the same thing. Tell somebody Black Thought, yeah, you know the name Ring. So give him the game ring for bringing what the niggas can't bring. My hustle is long, my muscle is strong. My man put the paper in the duffel, I'm gone. Y'all still a light year from the level I'm on. Just a pawn stepping right into the head of the storm. You been warned I will blow your niggas and disintegrate. I'm a rebel, renegade, must stay paid. Hip hop, world, what's going on? Listen, this is a great show. We're gonna have a great show today on That's a Bar podcast. I got my man that I've known for years. He goes by one name, Rory. He's going to be here today. We're going to talk a lot about his music and just the lines and the ideas of what's going on and why he chose those records and what about those verses. You're going to hear a lot from him. But I am really excited about this interview because I've been wanting to interview Rory for a while, seeing what he's done. I've known him for a long time, and it's going to be cool. It's going to be like friends catching up right here on the That's a Bar show. We usually start the show with Barcelona Times. So let's get into it. First up in Barcelona Times. That's right. Donda 2 was released. And this is an energized moment because I remember where my brother was when he wrote this. He was going from one album to the next. He was flying, he flew to Miami. He just had the vibes. The lyrics was just just pouring out. And we worked endlessly on trying to get you guys, the world, something special. And I think Donda 2, reminded me of Yeezus where, the way his approach to every record might add a whole new genre to music. You know what I'm saying? Like Pablo sounds crazy. We did it with Migos, and hearing Migos on there is just crazy. Flowers, Mr. Miyagi. Shout outs to everybody. Shout out to Digital Nas. Oh man, the little bro. I mean, not even little bro. He's a king in his own right. Executive produced this album. I just remember when he was in Donda 1 and just going hard at the beats and maybe he didn't get Ye's attention. So he would just flip a whole new beat and just like how hard he was working in Donda 1. And for him to have this moment is really dope. So shout outs to Digital Nas and everything that you did there, man. I'm really, really super proud of you, bro. Yeah, Donda 2 is out. That's fire. Go listen to that. It's on Apple. It's on, the That's a Bar show. We're not kind of, streaming promotion kind of a people. Bring the STEM players back. No, exactly. That's exactly what happened during this time. We had the STEM players and I remember Ye just wanting to do something dope for the culture, you know what I'm saying? Bring back, somehow we could get physicals coming back. I don't know, the dude that ran the STEM player, he was trash. So I don't know, it didn't work out the way it was supposed to, but it was a great idea, genius idea. So shout out to that moment. In 2022, Donda 2, it's now being released in 2025. That is in Barcelona Times because there's some bars on that album. You got something else? What do we got? Oh, Salt and Pepper will be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I feel like that's an amazing moment for not only female hip hop, but for hip hop in general. I know that they're trying to do their best to include hip hop, and they see the ratings going up every time they do our acts like Eminem and Dr. Dre and such. Salt and Pepper also sonically had this b-boy style to them. Even in their later years, they always kept that B-girl, that energy, that stage presence. I think when it comes to rock and roll, you can't be inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame unless you had a great stage show. And that's just my opinion. That's what I think. And when I think about Salt, Pepper, Spinderella, I just think about their show, their outfits, their content and their dance moves, but just overall it felt like there was a group, you know what I'm saying? Like they really cared. And then later we find out that there was a lot of turmoil here and there, but they got a great story and I am super proud of them. Shout out to Salt and Pepper. So yeah, that's dope. Barcelona Times. Who else was inducted? That's right. Look at that. Outkast. This is a great moment too, because when I first just got wind of Outkast. I think it was a Source magazine, and just seeing their picture, I didn't know that that was the same people, in elevators. I didn't know, and then I started just to dive into the Dungeon family and things of that nature. And then later, I did ATL with Big Boy, and it grew my appreciation even more. I mean, Three Stacks is one of the elite pens in the game. Just how he would lay his lines when he would be like, leather in the summer, silk in the winter. This is such a where do I begin to? Used to sing tenor in the church choir. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm the type of guy to know the subtle sign. Like where he would drag the word and why, you never knew. He took you on a ride every time lyrically. Big Boy also. You just didn't know where he was gonna land in his pocket, but you knew that you was gonna enjoy it. He would always give you a nah, there's no, and like he would give you those bars that you stay stuck in your head. People remember the forever, forever, ever, forever, ever. But with Big Boy, Miss Jackson, he tore a hole in Miss Jackson. Pause. Sorry, Miss Jackson. Shouts to Big Boy. Shouts to Three Stacks. Shouts to Outkast. Shouts to ATL. That's dope. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They're our version of Tribe Called Quest. Like we needed them right after Tribe Called Quest was like their prime was kind of going in a way, and Outkast, their resurgence in the 2000s was just second to none. And shout out to Outkast, also Three Stacks for being able to be that rapper that could rap. And he was like, I'm gonna sing on this record. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how I feel. And shout out to him. Yeah, still haven't really rocked to the Flute album like that. I'm gonna try to still, feels to me like a road trip kind of album. What else we got? Ja Rule set to honor Irv Gotti and special High 97 Summer Jam performance. I want them to do something dope for Irv Gotti, but we also lost a couple of people. We lost a lot of people, like Clark Kent, So to me, it's like, I don't know, is he gonna do Can I Live? Like, is he gonna do the Irv Gotti records that's not, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Or is it just a Ja Rule set at that point? You know what I'm saying? I think Irv should be honored, as all the executives should be honored. They gave us great content and producers. Irv Gotti was a producer. I don't know. It seems kind of forced. Don't force it on us. A lot of people want to go to Summer Jam to have a good time. You know what I'm saying? Don't force it on us, Ja. If you're gonna perform, G. Unless Ja Rule got a, I'll Be Missing You record. If Ja Rule come out with a every step out, he just, it's kind of hard when you're not around. Shouts to Sauce Money. Then that would be fire, but I don't know. That's it for Barcelona Times, right? We kind of got the news done. I think the Hall of Fame of rock and roll should just change the name as well, but we're not going to get into that. If they're going to keep it that, and they're going to keep the metrics that, I think there's a lot of other people that need to be honored as well, like the Last Poets. The Last Poets are essentially the godfathers of hip hop, in that they were the first to do poetry over the drum. And so, like in this show, and That's a Ball, we're gonna get that a lot. I'm gonna, bring up just some lyrical moments, but also the concept of the Last Poets, because the Last Poets, before them, people would just like read their poetry and put their glasses down and kind of read like that. And they came on the scene. My mentor, Abiodun Oyewole, and all of the members for the Last Poets, they was able to be the first to do poetry their way, from the people, for the people, over these dope drums, and that's where Biggie got Party and Bullshit from. So they should be honored, because I believe the metric for the Hall of Fame, but I think it's 50 years after your first album, you're eligible for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and the Last Poets have been there since 1970. So let's get everybody included, not just, trying to, come in on our culture just, because, we get the ratings, but treat us all right. All right, but this moment right here is called Mic Moments, and I love this part of the show because, once again, what could you do on stage? When you have a stage, what are you gonna say? It doesn't matter if you sold out a garden, or you was in the lunchroom, or somebody asked you for some advice. What's a mic moment when it's time for you to say something? What do you say? People tell me I'm more likely to have a dope wedding speech. You know what I'm saying? Because I always like, reading poetry. But I live for those moments. And I live for those people that, have something to say. So Check this mic moment out on That's a Bar.
We had a shooting at the city fair with a lot of kids, and it's heartbreaking to see all of them. And I just don't want kids to have access to any guns and shooting each other. And you know, kids are 50% of the population, and kids make up 100% of the future. So what are we gonna do?
That's right. That's a bar. Kids make up 50% of the population, but they also make 100% of our future. And when I heard that, I was like, man, this kid is special. But he was on the mic and he lived for that moment in the White House, actually. I think Styles P, Bun B was there. Shout outs to King Moore. All right. He's here. He's in the green room right now. My man, my mellow, Rory from the hit podcast Rory and Mal. You've seen him all over the internet blazing the trails for the podcasters out there, but also what he's done and what he's doing in music is what I, particularly on this show, care about. So here he is, ladies and gentlemen, my man, Rory. What's good, Rory? What's good? You good? Was it always Rory? Did you have a Rory, like another alias that you went by?
No, I always felt like kind of like insecure in the hood because no one ever gave me a nickname. I was always just Rory. Like I never had some other cool, or like, I was just always Rory.
Right. It could go bad though, you know, like it could go bad. A lot of people, I was called stupid for a while.
Oh yeah, no, I had some other names, but I'm saying
okay.
it didn't stick, like nicknames that became like
iconic,
some whole persona per se.
Right.
My name forever. Oh no, trust me, with my fair skin and my red hair, I definitely had some names that.
No, we went at it in junior high school. You know what I'm saying? You have to fend for yourself. I mean, I was chubby and my name is Albert, so you know how that went. And so I had to be quick with it. I'm glad to have you on the show. I'm glad that we are able to catch up. I'm just getting used to it. You're in the first season of That's a Bar. It means a lot to me that you're here because a lot of people see me as an actor because that was their first introduction to me. But you actually have been a part of like me actually working in music and like way back in 2008, 2009.
Yeah, not 2008. Moon 6 Communications.
That's right.
Jaleel, which again, I have no idea where he's at. I hope Jaleel's doing okay. I hope Jaleel's cool. I've not seen him since I was 18. I turned 35 this week. That's how long.
Congratulations, man. Your trip around the sun, 35.
So when I was at St. Peter's, my freshman dorm, when you and Fab had Mira Benaki out, my entire like freshman dorm floor was filled with your face, like on flyers that was posted everywhere. Because Jaleel, who was starting Moon 6 Communications, and correct me if I'm wrong, I only knew his story. You were his first artist that signed to him?
No, I didn't sign to him. It wasn't a sign thing. It was, you know, he believed, you know, and like we became brothers. And I think what the engine that I needed shouldn't have fell on Jaleel. So you guys were my engine because I kept doing freestyles and hearing back from him like, yo, this is crazy. And I just kept going and just kept working at it. Mira came about. I had Pun's ashes in my crib and I started to write. And I was like, what would he like? You know what I'm saying? Like what he would accept from me was the thing.
What's funny, even like kind of where I give like Jaleel some credit, when you were plastered all over our freshman hallways, like we never were like, oh, that's Brooklyn from ATL. Like we didn't even really put that together. We just loved the record. And then of course Fab was Fab on the remix. So we just thought she was like a new rapper, and then it connected a little bit after, like, oh wait, I know that face.
Yeah. Nah,
It
that
was
that
really
probably
just
would
on
have
some rap shit at that point. And
Fab
then I
Fab
even
went-
did more. I was like, oh shit, he was on Graduation. Like,
yeah.
yeah, it didn't even connect everything at that time. But yeah, that was
Yeah.
the first time we went out to a showcase you did. Shit, 08. I remember
Was
we
it
both left.
it was in LA?
No, this was I was in Jersey
In New
City.
York? Oh, this was in where Q-Tip used to spin in Vashti.
Yeah. Santos.
Santos.
Yes.
Playhouse.
We went
Yeah.
out to that shit without
Yep.
like, I was 18, like none of us had IDs, but Jaleel was like, yo, just y'all come through, and made sure
Yeah.
we was good. Yeah, that was like some of the first
I
music
brought
industry
88 Keys
shit.
out.
And who I'm really close with now, and we shop at the same supermarket to this day.
Yeah.
I run into them every time.
Shout out to
but
Ocho.
yeah, that was like the first music industry shit I was ever really introduced to, like outside of like maybe some Charles Hamilton showcase stuff, because I
Right.
just, knew everyone from FDA. But yeah, that was like the first thing that I realized, oh, this could be like, I didn't know you could do this as a job type thing.
Yeah. I was like, I need a job. I need a job. Energy. Yeah. Some people it just works well when they're green. You know what I'm saying? Like they have no expectations. They have no bad, what is it? Not regret. What's the other word?
No, I mean really
Jadedness.
no
You know what I'm saying?
I
Yeah,
mean jadedness or like
it's just like, let's go. And I think Jaleel
no
gave me that.
intention outside of just like loving what we're doing at the time. And
Right.
then I remember Jaleel dropped out and got like some deal, which again, that's not my business of what happened after that. But Jaleel ran at the St. Peter's track team, which I ran on too. And I ended up getting kicked out. Like he doesn't even know how much of a motivation he was to me with what y'all was doing. Once he was like, yo, fuck this track shit, we never go in the Olympics. I was like, yo, I'm in the same, which I knew already, but I was using track to pay for school. But at that point, like I was already getting, internships at Def Jam and this and that. And I was like, man, fuck all of this. Like college is not for me. I see what Jaleel doing. I see what everyone else doing. Like just being in Santos at that time,
you hear that, Mom? You hear that? My album, High, introduced him to the life he lives.
That was just like some time that we realized that, just going to a commuter school to go to college because we think that's what we're supposed to do, not realizing that we're living and breathing what we should be doing. And we're the actual creatives that are moving. We're the actual fans. We're the actual people. Yeah, that was a really influential time at that point.
You're in the middle of it. You're in the middle of 2008, 2009. I mean, the rookie year of 2009. I mean, I'm there, but I have you guys, right? No disrespect. Like, it's just me and y'all. Like, it's like some kids in college, they fucking with Albe, and they're like, go, like, you know what I'm saying? Then there's Drake, and there's Nicki, there's Meek, there's Theophilus London, there's Big Sean, there's like the rookie class of 2008, 2009 is like, sheesh.
So just a super quick story about St. Peter's and Jaleel and Moon 6. Comeback season had been out. There was like, if you were on OVO.blogspot and that shit at that time, you knew So Far Gone was coming. And St. Peter's wanted, like, the way Penn State got that Kanye moment when they got Kanye before Kanye was Kanye, that's what they wanted. So I said, yo, there's this kid, Drake. He's 7,500. I talked to this guy, Tez. He'll do it for 7,500 for our Peacock Palooza was the name of the shit, because our mascot was Peacock.
Palooza later grows into enormous.
I'm telling you where it started.
But let's go to the beginning.
Peacock Palooza was St. Peter's because that was our mascot, which sounds insane. And they were like, nah, we don't really know who this Drake kid is. Like, nah, we cool on that. Yo, I remember the head of whatever student activities was like, yo, my brother knows Kid Cudi, we'll get Kid Cudi. And Day and Night was going crazy at the time. And Cudi at the time too used to stay in one of our dorms. Cudi was running around the city at that time. So I was like, all right, cool, shut up, whatever. Best I ever had hit like 2 weeks later, and his price went to like 75,000. I showed Tez that email like 2 years ago from my Hotmail account that I had sent to Tez, like, yo, I hit you about Drake coming in 2008, going into 09. And that shit shut down. And Jaleel was with me during that meeting and offered to put up the money against St. Peter's. I'd never seen a student do that in my life. Jaleel, they was like, that's illegal. And Jaleel was like, yo, I'm telling you, let Rory rock and let him do this thing. I'll fund the other half of it. And they were like, no, you're a student. You can't do that.
You don't know Jaleel's belief system will make you believe that you can do anything. And I feel like,
but clearly I was fucking right.
That's how we got Fab through Jaleel. We would have got Fab if it wasn't for Jaleel. And I later wound up doing his movie and stuff. But y'all was early on Drake. I remember that time. I remember that moment. Funny thing is, when I later shoot Mira Mira music video, Puerto Rican Day Parade, I'm thinking that's a no-brainer. And I need Fab. And I had this whole like section for him because he's Dominican. You know what I'm saying? So, but still, and that was before they was doing that like that. And then Fab had went to the Best I Ever Had video. That day, Drake shot Best I Ever Had on a Sunday in New York City.
And then
Ye directs it. So you gotta know my brain is like, yo, this is, you know what I'm saying? This is my shot. You know what I'm saying? But like the way even Jaleel was able to, you know, it was like, yo, now we good. We're gonna just keep going. It's important to know that, you know, when you say that you was there. I know a lot of times people like, you know, just are always hearing about your new things and I watch a show and you're commentating on, you know, what's happening now. I personally think that the first 30 men would die with the gorilla, but the next 30 men, if trained just to focus on the eyes and pushing the eyes in, we can now start the process on getting him worn out. We never said the time limit on fighting this gorilla. You know what I'm saying? Because one of us got to go to sleep.
Now, are we doing the metaphor? Because I'm grabbing that, or are we being literal?
No, the literal. I just love the fact that your podcast will take one thing, and you guys are like really good at
because you're
pop
such
culture
a good poet.
now. Like that's what you do. But I'm just saying,
such a good poet.
Gorilla, I'm just saying my theory that the gorilla would go down with trained men to just focus on the eyes. Yeah, I never mentioned the eyes.
I took it to a whole deeper meaning because I thought I was in the bars thing that you were saying the first 30 people in the blog era died. And I was so young that I was the second wave and I survived because I watched everyone die.
Bars.
I thought that's what we was on right now. I thought you was taking it there.
That's what we better be
I thought it's about that whole era that I was just starting out in.
It better be a metaphor. All this stupid shit on the internet, would you fight a polar bear? That shit better be a metaphor.
No, and I'm not fighting a gorilla. I'm not fighting anything that has a 2,000-pound punch. Can grab a whole face off.
Rory Mall show has grown into something that like the porch. You know what I'm saying? It's grown into like just you and your relationship, and then just seeing like you having other co-hosts come in and out, and your relationship just growing. But just it's like the Odd Couple. It's just so funny. It's just so funny the way you guys master being timely versus talking about where you started and like that time of 2009 and when you was young and stuff like that. I think that's important to let people know that you were there. 10 years from now, you could teach a master's class on a couple of fields. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that came from like being in the label buildings early, like as an 18, 19-year-olds. And again, I'm not here to shit like on the labels per se, but I remember when Frank Ocean Nostalgia came out on Dat Piff. And I remember telling executives at Def Jam, you know, he signed to us. His name is Lonnie Bro. They were trying to figure out how to sign this guy. And I'm like, you do realize he's under contract here. Like, that's how, yeah. So when everything was shifting, I'm not even saying I was ahead of the curve. I was just paused in the curve because I was young. I was living what was going on at the time. I was the consumer. So going into it, having that mind state, I saw where also media was going because I never looked at myself as a media person whatsoever.
Right.
But I knew where things were going, and I saw everyone just not taking the opportunity to go into this path where radio was going to fail. Like, I worked in video promotions, I worked in radio promotions, I worked in every department that was dying. Like I was taking VHS tapes, walking up to where 106 was. Like it was dying. I could watch it dying. The departments were dying.
It's funny how it died though. It feels real now to look back on it, it feels real orchestrated. It didn't feel like, you know, you say die, Like what? Like what died? A tree?
I mean,
Like me? Like what died and how it died? I think the orchestration from the what was it, MySpace? What was the first? Who's the guy? Who's the Dr. Fauci that got the first stream to be like, that's a penny?
shit. I mean, I wouldn't even know that behind the scenes, but I watched a bunch of artists have to shift where maybe they were getting more promo than they were actual monetization, and they realized that when I put a mixtape out, it does better than anything I could get from a major label, and I see where the traction is going. I think it was a whole movement from the blogs rather than one particular person. If anything, like SK from Nah Right,
MySpace was getting numbers.
of course, but
where
I
was
think
those numbers going? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where was we had music on our front page. What was it called? Front page? It was like it was called front page. Like that was your moment where you were, I would say, MySpace. I would say, of course, the Kazaz and the stuff was downloaded, but you still kind of had the physical file on you. You know what I'm saying? That was in your thing. Where did it go from the streams?
The majors were focusing at that point. They were stepping over $1 million to get $1. They were so focused on trying to shut down whatever that was with Kazaa, Napster, what ended up being MySpace. And the artists that weren't on majors didn't work in that system. And that's how you end up getting somebody like SK and Nah Right. And I think the blog rappers followed that as well.
Two Dope Boys.
Based, yeah. I mean, Mech Shake, like those guys were just doing everything that they felt was moving within the internet, while the majors were just focusing on monetizing it, every last stream and dollar that was going on. Like,
and didn't know how.
That MySpace shit was a commercial. Like, why are you trying to get money off this? This is a commercial and a promotion to get somebody to buy your album. Like, trying to monetize off a mixtape is stupid when you're signed to a major at that point.
No, it was out of control. I think, you know, they try to put Tom there. I don't even know if Tom was real or was alive.
He's a real human being.
Yeah, he's a real human being. But my thing is, like, those are moments where you captured, like, all right, my expertise can go here, and you guys aren't even seeing that long form with podcasts is like, you know, albums being streamed, and then you start to go with Joe Buttons, and then climbing out of that, going with Rory. Where do you see yourself now with when you're doing music, right? Do you feel like commenting and talking about it a lot like makes you a little bit more overconscious in the studio? Like, is it always something that you thinking as a critic as well as, you know, these days?
I mean, a lot of like, I mean, even though I've been doing this for quite some time, a big reason of why I wanted to actually put music out was because I started to feel like Skip Bayless a little bit. Like I'm critiquing people and I'm not in the ring. And granted, it was always a conscious mind because we've never been super disrespectful. Like, we're not even those type of people. We fully understand to some degree what every artist goes through and how fucked up this game is, and how sometimes you're putting out music you don't even like because of another entity. But with that, I still started to feel like I was doing some first take shit where every morning I'm arguing about somebody that was on the court and I was in the stands. I just wanted to even the playing field, even if it didn't matter to anyone else, because there's artists I critique that are, of course, far light years above who I am.
That's what I'm asking.
At least I still feel like, even though they won't critique it back, at least it's there. Like, you could also say my shit is trash.
No.
Like, it evens the playing field, even though I'm not the your shit is trash guy. No, but art is meant to be critiqued. So here you go.
Well, art is meant to be read. And the critique part, you know, it really doesn't matter because you're gonna absorb it through your filter anyway. I find it funny when you say that, when you say getting in the ring, because I saw we were working records. You like we was working things, so it's still a part of, right? It's still, to me, it's a part of. Skip is writing a story and critiquing on the outside, but you're more like Eric Sposter. On the heat in that regard. And then to me, I want to know, when was the moment in working on your project where you go, oh shit, I'm in it? Like, when did you said I didn't want to feel like I was that person that was just critiquing, and I wanted to feel like I was in the game. When did you feel like the jersey came on?
That's a really, really good question. There was a couple moments. Right before COVID, I felt like my project was done. And then COVID hit, and no disrespect to anybody that lost people in COVID and everything, but I said, thank God for COVID, because this is the worst album I've ever heard in my fucking life.
This is this is when you had like podcast skits in it.
Yeah, there was parts of that, but also there was, I mean, some versions of songs made it, but I felt like I was very confident going into just the energy of creating it before that. And once I got to sit silently in my house and not just have the energy of what this force was of creating this project, I said, nah, this isn't it. If I don't feel like I need to listen to this 10 times today and then take 3 weeks off and then not want to listen to it again, then I don't know what the fuck I'm doing here. And I felt that about a lot of the music, where I was like, oh, this is like amateur hour.
That's a bar.
Like this, this is amateur hour. I really felt like, damn, I really thought I was better at this than I am. So I had to go back to the drawing board and like really learn again. And I mean, thank God for, you know, Azad from Emotional Oranges, Yanni from Child, like our internal crew, Dan, Robbie, like all of those people, like I think kind of let me go through that process. And we're like, yeah, all the shit you fought us on, now you see what we were talking about.
There you go. There you go. And Skip don't understand, just not getting injured was a game.
Yeah. Like you think you know what you like for your own purposes, but you don't realize you like things it's impulsive sometimes because you're creating it at the moment. And this is not something that's really going to stick with you. Dealing with people that have done that 10,000 times, they know what impulse feels like. Oh, this sounds good for this 2-3 months. This ain't going to sound good forever. And that was something that was tough. And I think COVID helped with that. Also, on the other side, putting the jersey on for real.
Yeah. What was that?
Clearing everything. Clearing everything was like, no, now I understand why people give up on the shit. Because you got, especially with the compilation album, it was damn near impossible. Even artists, you know, especially if you're like an up and coming artist and you get that one feature, that one lick, like, yo, finally I got somebody and this person fucks with me, but they're signed to a major and now I have to deal with their rollout and whatever that label's plan is. And they treat me like a herb. Like that's a whole nother monster that almost made.
In 2009, when we were running around, there wasn't payola, but there was I kind of like this TV, you know, and I live here. You know what I'm saying? It's like you didn't. So when I go through that, when I go through being the businessman as well, you got to understand why the second record's coming out so intense. And then so you like, we want these artists to like reflect. And then here's this next album. And we're not taking into the account their sleepless nights. Like I would think this Rory next album, and we listened to it, we're about to get into that, but I just think that this Rory next album will be even hella different because, you know, you just had a seed, you know, and as fans that know that you had a seed, like we're expecting to understand, you know, real fans, I think would understand, hey, that person's life is moving in it. And I guess Skip Bayless kind of is like cold to that, is what you were saying.
Yeah, and even like taking my time with the second one has been tough. Back to the clearing conversation, because I knocked out in October 2023. Me and Child knocked out like most of the project, and I was kind of ready to go. And then I had to deal with clearances from majors, and all the magic that we had was stopped by the 3 majors. I don't need to name all of them, but when it came to features, it wasn't even the artist's problem. Like they don't
look how hip hop we are. Really quick, we're so hip hop that there's labels, and then there's labels who became the top labels. So then they were called major labels, and now we don't even say that term. We just call them majors. It's out of control.
Yeah, it's the big 3. Now you're dealing with artists that can't even control their own rollout that I'm trying to get on email with people from fucking Capital and shit. And they're like, oh, no, we have a whole rollout for him and we can't do this and that. And like, everything's ready to go. But again, I learned that from the first one that may be blessings. Like sometimes it's okay to pull back because like you said, just had a kid. I was so ready to go because I took a while on the first one and I didn't want to do it on this one. But now with a child, I'm actually happy that every time I hit this roadblock, I come back and I feel like I did 3 records that are better. Right. Like every time I hit it, I feel like it's okay that I'm taking my time because Amara's sitting over here in the studio with me. I just look over at her every single time. I'm like, all right, she's the reason why this roadblock keeps happening. Somebody's telling me to slow the fuck down.
Right.
I've had records that I'm like, you know, I put out a record with Leon Thomas, which if I didn't put it out that week, I was told I couldn't put it out in 2025. So,
wow. So that makes you feel like the league. That makes you feel it.
Yeah, for sure. So I fully understand why artists get so upset and feel like I wasn't able to present this the best way I wanted to because other people that I don't even fucking know are now in control of when I can release something. Right. So I fully get that aspect, but I'm trying to view it in a different way that this is the purpose. Like maybe it's okay that I'm taking my time. Maybe the Leon shit came out, cool. I had a follow-up with 2 artists that I'm not going to name because I still do think it's going to come out. But maybe it's better that I took 2 months to chill because I've made a bunch of records already. I get to hang with my daughter because every time I put something out, it becomes all focus goes elsewhere.
Yeah, and then you have I see you go hard with your promotion and as far as getting around and you know those flyer miles must be amazing. Every time I call you, you say, all right, when I get back to New York, and I'm like, gee, I just talked to you, fam. Like you would just
when I released the first project in May of 2023, my daughter was born January of 2023. I had her in LA with me.
She a Capricorn?
And is that what January 30th is?
Oh no, that's an Aquarius.
Aquarius, yeah. Aquarius. So I had her with me that entire trip for 10 days, and we went up to Seattle. She is on the road with me, like through podcast tours.
Right.
Like, no, my frequent flyer miles are used so I can get an extra seat for this baby to freak the fuck out.
That's right. That's right. And you know, I have a 13-year-old that be rapping. She led the Donda Kids Choir and you know,
show and stuff. Seen those clips, and you've sent me stuff too, and you posted stuff too of her rapping.
One day I was like, yo, Chinese. If I grew up in China, I would learn Chinese. And so what is the language that my daughter's just seeing on just language? So I would be like, go to one. You know, I would talk to her in set talk. You know what I'm saying? And so you get your child getting to see your experience. You know, I think that's ultimately what LeBron James was trying to do with this season. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, come see this right here. I put enough equity in the game that I could have you move around. No, but you know, I think I love the fact that when you show not only where you've been, but the inside of why you are making the music that you're making. We're gonna do the segment that we're gonna have really quick. We're gonna run right into it. It's hip hop Slizzo, really with the shits though. Cause the flute case got the thing with extendos. My live on do say, fuck what you and you say. Paralyze your engineer and upload the bootlegs. So what I want to make sure that we have on my show is not that stupid fucking question of who's the Mount Rushmore in rap. There are people putting Tupac in their Mount Rushmore out of fear of sounding stupid. He's not in their Mount Rushmore. The Mount Rushmore is somebody took time to build this stone. So the time that was spent, that's the theme of this song, time being spent into bars and into meaning, the time being spent to build your face on a fucking rock. What did that for you lyrically? And what is your Mount Rushmore verses? I want to hear what is your top 4 verses that does something to you. But I'm tired of the pressure of people doing that and not giving the context of verses. And I wanted to explain that to my audience because every time everyone's on the show, when you hear their choices, you get to know them a little better.
4 is around Mount Rushmore. So in between our back and forth, I'm gonna have to figure out of the 6 I have here. But I do love the concept that you have here because music is like food. It's to your taste. Like I hate when people are like, it has to be this. it's like, nah, it's like what I like. outside of Jay-Z being the greatest rapper of all time to me, I don't really everything is debatable after that to me. Whatever you like, cool.
Okay.
So Mount Rushmore, I'm cheating a little bit on this first one.
All right.
Because it's a whole song, but it's technically one full verse.
I love that. I count those. Like Rabbit Run.
So Jadakiss Still Feel Me is, to me, Mount Rushmore. Also because when I was in high school when it came out, I love the verse, but I love verses that age well with you.
Yeah, that's right.
Again, going into 35 now, when I was 15, I was feeling that record. Now I relate to it even fucking more.
Do you feel
that that's a verse?
Do you feel that's your approach when you're writing the
yes.
timelessness?
100%. This is something that maybe a younger audience won't get yet, but it'll hit you. If the melody is good and it's something that's you can really attach to, when you get older, it'll hit you differently. There's rap records that I've loved my whole life just because I kind of love the melody and love what they were saying, love the tone of voice. Then I got older and realized, oh, I was listening to a 33-year-old when I was 15, and now I get what the fuck he's saying.
Now I get
it. I lived it. I liked what he was saying before. Now I really love what he was saying. Like, to me, that's more timeless music.
I felt that way about Nas's Street Dreams remix. His Street Dreams remix with R. Kelly. Shout outs to Kels.
I don't know if I'm gonna co-sign that part, but yeah.
The Kels.
Yeah, no. I mean, Track Masters, you heard, but
no, that's what I mean. Track Masters, but you know, Kels.
No, I'm not here for
that time. At that time, it was.
I got babies.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, and I got daughters. That's not even in my brain. My brain was in that time. That song. My brain is on the song, right? And the Street Dreams original had came out, and we had seen Nas in the pink suit, right? And then here's Nas in this red Averex, and he's telling another story with 3 different verses, you know. And I'm sorry, kids, back in the day, you know, sometimes the remix had 3 whole different verses, you know. That's 6 verses, like on the same beat, you know. Like that's the art of it.
R. Kelly, I mean, is a piece of shit, but Street Dreams remix was better than the original, and he's still the greatest fucking R&B artist of all time, unfortunately. Yeah. But
my brain was on when just like Street on Dream.
The remix is way better than the original.
Yo,
it's not even close. It's literally not even close how good the remix is.
The comments are gonna destroy us. I think I'm gonna lead with that. Street Dream Remix 2. Fuck 1. No, like,
but keep in this clip. Fuck R. Kelly. It just
that too.
To be better.
Sure. Yeah. You gotta live pure throughout your whole life so we could love your old work or something. I don't know. Shit,
you're supposed to be the poet.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Jumping out the window. But his 3 verses. Here's the 6th verse he wrote for this song, for this concept, right? And then out of nowhere, he just jumps into like this story. And he just out of nowhere, and he's like, to get the weak links about the chaining, rise and start raining, blasphemy, using Nas' name in vain. Some claim supreme being, but they lied in his name. I tried to learn the game, and only thing I found it credible. See, everything I tried to learn, I already knew, and it's embedded in my heart now. So I can sit back, count a stack, and play my part now. I saw my light flash in front of my eyes. He wore disguise, put a gun to me. Hungry, he went on to chastise. That's nice, ain't it? Made it rich from entertainment, fresh while he's paying it. As he told the kid he came with. That right there, that as he told the kid he came with, as a kid, that made me look at who wasn't looking right in the room. I think that what is that? Like a Sopranos episode, or like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like that right there made me look at how somebody talked to somebody about what they looking at. Yeah. And I learned it later, like later in life, you go, it grew on me, like you were saying, like something that I could just be like, oh man, he was like an old head even at that time. Like the way him and Biggie would go into the specifics of their lines in a different life way. They were just like life would be happening and we could see it. I think that to me, that's a bar in even how to write. If you listen to that Street Dream remix, even how to write a story within a verse that didn't start off as a story, and then he just out of nowhere comes up with he woke up in a cold sweat. So that was one of my Mount Rushmore verses of all time, the 3rd verse on Street Dreams.
Kiss coming out the gate with Past few years, shit got so ill, it was kind of hard for the God to laugh through tears. I went through something with mama, no drama. Something that came and went, real life karma. My pop think his son is deserting him. It's hurting him. Guess I got to be the man and sit down and work with him. My little boy, 7, shout out to J1. He the sequel to the thug. So I told him the money would never equal to the love. Listen, I'm grown, yo. When it comes to my family, it's never a problem. It's only a phone call. They tend to take that, we'll run with it. So every month I be on some new phone, new number shit. It's like, it's the perfect fucking balance of how you deal with family. Like everything about you is sitting there like, all right, I got to take care of everybody. And then I go through the whole list of my family tree. And it's like, this is why I changed my number.
This is why right here. Right. No, yeah. I think when it comes to
on how people get like taken advantage of through everything. Every time you try to help somebody, you get taken advantage of. But the way Kiss even delivered that, it was just like, I'll be fine. And just moved on to the next shit. Like to me, Still Feel Me after that is like perfect.
That verse of Kiss is that's not clinical Kiss. That's a different Kiss though. It's still him. It's so dope. It's not the, you know what I'm saying, like the bars and that this could happen, this guy, it was direct, it was following, it was mazed right into a purpose. I love that Kiss, like even in Why and like By Your Side, or I just like when Jadakiss, man, like I can't wait to have him on the show.
And to me, which I knew we were gonna have this convo with my picks. As much as I love technical rap, like don't get me wrong, that's my shit.
Life bars or your bars?
I prefer when you say more with less. To me, that's more of a talent.
For like, real.
It's so easy. And I can say too, as a writer, like it's way easier to put a bunch of words in something to get your point across. To me, the real talent is you. That's also why I've always loved Ye.
Right.
He can say so much in 4 words. To me, that's more of a talent than somebody that could just like, cool, I get it. That's ill. But
yeah,
it hits me different when you can say so much in a few words at this point in my life.
I think to me, that is a draw, but that draw can get run amok. I think the person should have both. So I think Pun was a perfect example where it's like, hey, yo, I shattered dreams like Jordan, assault and battery your team. Like at the time, we really didn't get the assault and battery line. Like Smack would be like assault and battery. You're like, you know what I'm saying? We didn't get that, and like, cause he was going. But then on the second album, he started to grow and was like, that nigga shit. Smoking weed with your mom, that nigga shit, slinging like, D, like, you know what I'm saying. He started to understand. Of
course, like Dead in the Middle of Little Italy is the greatest shit ever. But I also love like How to Roll. Like that was, like that's where I usually land on that type of stuff. I love that somebody is able to do that. But
yo,
I don't like not every single time that I want to watch somebody rap super fast. Like one of my picks that's not on here was AZ. I Feel You. Okay. That's the most technical fucking thing I've ever seen while he's telling a story. AZ. I mean, AZ is I think the most underrated rapper that's ever existed. But
how you living on your block with him and Nas might make it to my Mount Rushmore. That might make it, but like that's definitely along the trail of the museum of the Mount Rushmore. That's like in there. Like AZ is just like.
But as much as like I Feel You, AZ is incredible because how technical it is. He's still telling a story. I still love when AZ says East New York 82, Pumas navy blue. Like I just prefer when somebody is saying more with less. That's all.
Yeah, I think.
But yeah, we can keep going. They're gonna get mad at us in the chat that I keep dragging everything.
You got Black Thought in there? Is Black Thought versus up there?
No.
Come on, bro.
You said my shit. I love Black Thought. I just saw Black Thought in New Orleans when we was texting. I was with Black Thought.
Shouts to Reed.
Yeah, no, I was with Amir and Reed. All right, if you want to get technical, then I will say Jay Electronica, Jesus Lord verse is the greatest rap verse of all time. And it's not even close.
I wish we had the pictures right now. Shout outs to Donda 2 just came out. down to one. I want to be able to tell the stories, but I just feel like when I tell the stories with my friends, they get all like, yeah, like you know, how you just said the Black Door. I was there in New Orleans because you know I know him, and it's like that. So this is like when Jay was there, I could tell y'all what happened. And I tell
I
you
was
what happened.
on
You was there. We saw each other.
I was on the plane flying to Atlanta, and I was on like United Wi-Fi, and he texted me his verse. I hadn't heard shit. I didn't hear the beat. I didn't hear how he spit it. He just texted me the verse, and I was like, just reading it. That is the most complex verse that's ever existed on Earth.
Crazy,
I
crazy.
went to Rap Genius to even go through their like, and they didn't even catch it on the anecdotes of what that verse means.
No, no, it's decoded and it's really like daylight shit, kind of shit. Like, well, you know what daylight and that elk of monk that raps like that. But he was there 3 weeks with no verse. Like he was
Yeah,
there like 3 weeks, and it was like, yo, you got something? He's like, he is coming. Pause. You know what I'm saying? Like he was there for like he was there for a minute, just having a good time and just kind of like soaking it in. I think he had came from somewhere before that, so he was just like just soaking into the people, you know what I mean? And we would just see him, and he would just be around out of nowhere, like he was traveling through Atlanta and stuff like that for a little second. So when the Locks had won the thing, Jesus Lord, I remember nobody, other people didn't really appreciate it, and I was like, I was fighting for it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, this is
it's
crazy.
the greatest rap verse I've ever heard in my life.
And
If
so
you
then
know everything he's talking about, it's the greatest rap verse that's ever existed.
but hearing the Locks on it too, like the Locks and Kiss and Chic and Styles, and then Ye, and then having that. See, that's what I'm saying. There's that too, because Jay Elec's verse on Control was amazing. I
Oh
felt.
yeah, oh
And
he had the
then
best verse. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go and I love Kendrick. I know people have because the Mall OVO affiliation. I'm a huge Kendrick fan. I
yeah.
said this back in fucking 2011, whenever that came
Oh,
out.
Maul has the OVO affiliation? Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
I think Kendrick had the worst verse on that song.
uh,
I think Sean and Jay Elect smoked him. But this is not like I know the internet's gonna take that as some Kendrick thing, and it's not. I've said
yeah,
that a
they
million times.
will. I think
Sean
Dot
and Jay Elect went fucking nuts.
no,
Kendrick did what he was supposed to do as far as making a moment. Like he went crazy, but Sean and Jay Elect smoked him on that as far as just rap verses.
I can see
I don't even
what
think
you're
it's close.
saying. I can see what you're
It's not even
saying.
close. I feel like Kendrick actually thought that.
I can see what you're saying, right? But that's not hip hop. That hip hop is controlling the room, and I think there's a lot of rappers with the beat that can write a great verse. It's up to me to make to make the room go this way. You know what I'm saying? And as an
No,
MC, Kendrick achieved that. Like he achieved it. It doesn't even matter
no,
if you know what I'm saying. It's hip
no.
hop over here. Like who did that? Because you
Now
did
you're
three
back.
songs up there in your showcase, but the guy that did that was the one. Like you just said, you
Now
just
you're
said
back
it's
to my point.
yeah,
It's the
back to your
person
point.
that can deliver and say more with less.
Yeah, not K Dot killed it.
He
Control was
know
a
he
moment
went.
in
It
time.
was.
It
It's
was a
one of the
moment.
most iconic verses. But if you go technically next to the
Yeah,
two verses he was surrounded by,
yeah,
he got cooked.
yeah.
But
Jay Elect cooked a couple of like there was some moments in the DD 172 era where with Dame Dash and then Mos Def
yeah,
and like
of course.
Jay Elect was cooking in there too, and even that the Exhibit A and C, one of my favorite lines is so now I'm back spitting that he could pass a polygraph. His lines on Exhibit C with that beat where it feels like there's no one that could ever rap over this beat again. You know what I'm saying? What else you got?
I'm gonna go Nas, Stay, third verse. If you
Do,
want to
do,
pull up,
do, 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 do. Oh my gosh. And that was a moment where he was going through the divorce and he was going through some stuff. That was on the Life album.
Life
Life
is good, which I don't think we get 444 without Life is Good. I think that was the first like adult
yeah.
rap album
Yeah.
mainstream that we've ever gotten. Um,
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever gotten one prior to that because I mean hip hop is so young. If you look at the scope of everything, like the adult contemporary shit that we get with all other genres. I don't think we ever had that with hip hop. I think Life is Good was the first time we've had that.
Adult.
444, like, of course, like KRS, everyone's put out albums. Don't get, like, I don't want to disrespect the elders that have put out shit at that time, but when it came to mainstream, where that was like an album for the world.
Yeah, no, I
with
agree.
Singles, like that was the first time we had seen that era age and age gracefully, where it didn't look corny, it didn't look weird, like
Kobe retiring. Or
yes.
but he wasn't retiring, but just the next phase is coming, but they're not doing it or he was injured, he ain't playing. He's doing it like I have the dress on the album cover. I'm telling you what I went through. You know, Destiny's getting bigger, like she's older now. Like
the single was Daughters. It was Nas the Don. Like he sounded like the times, but it was also shit that adults that grew up with Nas could really identify with.
Yeah,
and
no,
like even the intro, no introductions, when he's like, yo, I got somebody, I got a girl 23 talking to me, dog, I'm exhausted. Like it was the first adult contemporary album of hip hop to me. And that last verse on Stay is like one of those weird Nas diabolical verses. Have you ever had like a real issue with somebody before and you want nothing to do with them, but they motivate you and keep you moving? I need you next to me no matter what.
Yeah.
Like it's one of the deepest verses I've ever heard from Nas, and that's saying something. He is so disgusted with this human being, but is realizing that this human being is the only thing fueling him. He even wants this person not to die, just to be around, just so I can keep going.
Yeah.
It's an insane verse.
No, it is. And I was reading it. I forgot about well, that meant something. The way that meant to you. We can go for days with this man, but the way the Street Dreams and the Stillmatic intro and just the way his imagery, man, I Gave You Power. Well, you don't think about Nas verses. I already said my Mount Rushmore is that, as well as Capadonna, Winter Wars. That was a moment in time, and then what he was doing, what he was trying to do, and where Wu-Tang was at the time. It was like, not teetering. It was like getting into a space where everybody's kind of breaking up. It's like they were on their second album mode and stuff like that. And here's this soundtrack that we hear from Don't Be a Menace While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood. And then the lush beat that RZA had before that. And then he switched it, and it was that elk of that era. And then here is Capadonna taking over. Like he just says, all right, this is what I'm doing. And everybody had to like follow those bars like that. I think that got some of the poster boys and the stuff like that. And get $10 back. The fat LP cappuccino on the wax. Like it's just like this brash, just the whole thing, 40 bars. I think Cannabis kind of came after that with like 60 bars or something like that, after people like just rapping for a long time. That was like the first time we had really like heard that many bars like that. I love the fact that Capadonna doesn't get his deserved thing, so that when you hear about him, you go back and you go, oh man, he actually was kind of one of those, you know what I'm saying? So to some that don't. So I went to one of my favorite on Mount Rushmore because of what it did to me. And every time I hear it, you know what I'm saying?
Wu-Tang is so interesting in that regard that like if you were to do a Mount Rushmore of Wu-Tang, a lot of those it may have more Deck and Capadonna than we think it would be.
Yeah. No, especially Deck was
Deck might have like 2 out of the 4.
I just think Capadonna was here. I just think Capadonna was he was like me. And I think that's why I asked everybody, what's your favorite verses? What did it mean to you? Just you picking that Jadakiss verse is wild. Like there's mad Kiss verses. You know what I'm saying? Grab Jada with the 3/8 with the potato, clap at niggas a broad data. You know what I'm saying? He made up terms. So that one just shows your connection with that verse.
Yeah, I think you just caught me like really on my birthday week, because of course like Nas and Kiss, there's a million verses that you could pick, but shit that like really resonates, like that Nas Stay third verse.
Crazy.
I've caught myself doing that too, of like really thinking that I hate somebody and like, oh shit, no, this person, I'm attached to them forever for some weird fucking reason. Whether it's been romantically, friendships, everything. I think I hate this person, but I can't go a day without thinking I'm attached to you through this entire thing. Like even when Nas is saying, I might kill you, but do I have love for you? I want you 6 feet of dead under the soil. At the same time, I want you here to witness me while you're in misery. We hate each other, but it's love. What a thug mystery. I felt bad. Wait, do I got love for you? Like, to me, that's cool. You could do any rhyme scheme on earth. To me, that's music to me.
Yeah.
The fact that you could break that shit down, and Nas at that age is like, everybody I hated my entire life that I can't let shit go. You go to therapy, your therapist telling you, yo, this person's bad for you. You can't be around them, this and that.
Yeah.
Now I have this weird, deep attachment to this person that is keeping me moving.
With a verse like that touches you, do you find a parallel with him and Kendrick? Their careers like perfectly paralleling? I believe it was raised in my man from ADHD was saying this, and I was like, if you think about it, what Illmatic and what Section 80 was able to do, and the kid looking through the window of everything and just experiencing it and in it, you know, of course you got Kendrick looking up to Nas, right? So of course there's remnants of Kobe footwork, you know, that you're seeing in Jordan. But I'm just saying, like, even career-wise, their choices, and if you could take this Not Like Us moment, you could stack it up with the Ether moment as this thoughtful, lyrical storytelling, all these ability to change voices. I think Nas was one of the first rappers to do things like that. Like, even
I even said on Streets Disciple when he did the AIDS song, he was the first one to do the AI. We was all in the hood thinking that was Lil Kim at first. I was like, oh no, that's Nas on AI.
Nah, but the way he did it, bro, like,
to like the window version that you talk about,
yeah.
What I've always said is Good Kid, Mad City and YG, My Crazy Life is Illmatic and The Infamous. That's the West Coast version. YG, My Crazy Life is The Infamous, and Good Kid, Mad City is Illmatic as far as that goes. People that were actually like outside, and then somebody that was viewing it from their window.
Right. Okay. Following you there.
But as far as like their careers, I don't think they've mirrored each other really at all, to be quite. And I mean that in a good way. I don't think Ether and Not Like Us are similar. I don't think anything that they've done.
Well, Ether and Not Like Us is very similar. It's a beat that nobody would have picked. It's a pocket.
I'm with you there.
Would have picked. It's a very disrespectful upfront and joking and making fun of. It's a very easy thing. Like, I will not lose. They're not like us. There's like, it's really like the Ether doesn't have any like real factual actuals. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors and jokes.
Okay, I guess it is like Not Like Us where there are some facts and some not.
It doesn't matter. They're like, you know what I'm saying? How you think of him, Tybo Ho. Like, he was on MTV just doing boxing. Nobody say he took Tybo. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh no, I'm with you, but I also hate that.
And the moment I think
Ether had facts.
The moment of Jay-Z being such a big artist at the time, and then where Drake was, where Jay-Z and Drake was, and where Nas and where
not even
eventually they had to come.
Not even remotely comparable.
Not even remotely.
Not even close.
Hov was Hov. And
Drake is a different stratosphere. I'm not here to downplay Drake whatsoever. Yeah. Kendrick had just done the largest arena tour in rap history.
And Pulitzer Prize winner.
He was right there. And Nas, because a lot of shit that was going on with his mom and everything with his label, it was never quiet for Nas, but we was all there. We know it was quieter than usual. But let's not act like Kendrick was not selling out. He broke a record before this battle.
Yeah, lyrically, I'm talking about choices, but I think Nas and Kendrick, I think they opened up the doors for a lot of other people to just be able to go take chances, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about with your album and with Enough. That was the first record I wanted to talk to you about. Was your speech before it, right?
Yeah.
Some people only take snapshots of their illusions, a moment in time that captures who they really want to be, how they really want to feel, hoping it takes over the true picture of their lives. But no one takes a photograph of something they want to forget. The things you're most afraid of have already happened.
Talk to me about those bars. I got my Rory glasses. Talk to me about that.
So that was a remix of, I don't know if you've ever seen 1 Hour Photo with Robin Williams.
Mm-hmm.
So you're actually wearing the Robin Williams glasses right now. 1 Hour Photo was one of my like favorite movies as a kid, and he had done voiceovers. So I kind of just rewrote what he had done for that scene, because that entire video was based off the Robin Williams 1 hour photo. It didn't necessarily match with what me, Reggie, and Jay wrote on the record, but I did in retrospect feel like it was, because Robin Williams through that entire thing never felt like he was enough. He was living through other people's photos and felt like his entire life was awful. And I mean, granted, what like Reggie, Jay,
before IG, ladies and gentlemen, this is before IG.
Yeah, 1 hour photo.
Funniest, entertaining. Like, you can't be next to him and not laugh. If he moves, you're gonna laugh.
And like, then did the darkest movie ever.
Yeah, right. I've been around Dave Chappelle, and it's like, I'm like, man, I don't want to laugh, but he's just so that it's like an aura. This Robin Williams had an aura of just like being this person, and he finally makes a choice to go one-on-one with a villain inside. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like lurking. And I love this. I love that story. I mean, you know, because, you know, sort of like Frozen, you know, there's no like villain. The villain was, you know, how you're thinking of shit. Now, this is before the gram. And this is one of your favorite films. Our beloved, love, happy pursuit of not what was it? What was the movie he did? That he was a doctor. We're talking about the most lovable comedian, and your favorite movie, one of your favorite movies, is when he's sick and demented. I just want to know
dark. And dark. Actually, like, what's funny is with my age, I was not introduced to Robin Williams as a comedian. So you have to understand, when I was a kid, I was introduced to 1 hour photo, Jack, and Good Will Hunting. So I didn't look at Robin Williams as like a comedian. Wow. Everything I saw with him was like serious and dark. And I mean, I understood when I got older that he was a comedian, but I was just a kid. But 1 hour photo, I don't know if it was just because I was like a dark kid, stuck with me forever. What's funny, Albe, I've never even said this on my own podcast when the video came out. There's 3 layers to that entire video. So what Reggie is singing about is more or less feeling like you're a man that's kind of incompetent in love with your family. You're trying to be there to just provide. Like, I did this, I made sure everything was good. How is that good enough? So that's one feeling within the entire thing of looking at it, of Robin Williams looking at other families.
Right.
Like, damn, I'm trying to look at the perfect family. I thought I was providing for mine, but clearly it's not enough for what I'm doing. I thought, because I was not raised correctly, a man was just supposed to provide for his family.
Right.
It's not good enough. And the girl is saying back, like, no, like, no, idiot. That's not what a family is about. You're not supposed to provide. You're supposed to be here emotionally. That was my idea also with the 1 hour photo thing of like Robin Williams looking at another family. Because I think all as men, even when you're in a great relationship, I feel like we feel inadequate sometimes as providers when we can't also be there emotionally. That's a tough thing to do all the time. And that's where the enough really came from a writing perspective. But then the third layer of that entire thing was the podcast audience that has been so obsessed with my personal life.
Okay.
I think you guys are Robin Williams.
Right. That's
I think you fucking weirdos are sitting and looking at my fucking life. And granted, you're not wrong because I gave you the film. I provide. Here you go. How could I be mad? You're looking at photos I gave you. Right. So why would I be mad that you looked at them? But I still feel like it's an invasion of privacy.
Yeah, it feels like there's a protocol. We used to have a trust. We used to have the trust of like the postal service. It was like, all right, we trusted. We had a trust, and like some of that has been broken. Even that movie showed us. Like, I think that movie was like, it was like, whoa, that could happen.
But even though everyone's not Robin Williams, like,
I was about to ask you, has that happened? I was about to ask you, has that happened?
I still use film, but we know people are looking at those photos.
Right.
But how could you get mad? You gave them the film.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I looked. That was kind of my response to everything that had happened.
No, I'm saying, has that happened with you? Has that happened with somebody in particular, or like a moment in pod where somebody's looking into your life and they really feel they know you? Have you ever ran into somebody on the airport or whatever? Because you talk for a living, you know, well, I mean, just for a
yeah.
living, but you're speaking so much of what goes on in your brain. Do you feel people are like that?
Oh yeah, I've had people show up to my house. I've had people harass
Wow.
ex-fiancés. I've had people harass my mother. Like that was really a response to a lot of podcast shit. And I mean, obviously the old pop breakup was crazy. And while I think a lot of people are weirdos, I think a lot of people have lied and done odd shit on the internet about my personal life.
Yeah.
That was my way of finding peace and saying, I gave you the film. Robin Williams looked at the film and made up a whole story in his own brain and stocked something for no fucking reason. And that's how I viewed that Enough video. As mad as I am that there's psychopaths outside my fucking house, literally and metaphorically.
Yeah.
How could I be mad? I gave you the film.
Before
what you did with the film, you could do whatever the fuck you want with it.
Right. Before we go to the next song, because I really want to get into the second song, play that clip, the other clip we had of Enough.
It only takes a day to go from look at us to look at that. I told you there's no looking back. The brimstone is a falling. Any talk of how I did you wrong, the folks will be appalling. Things got rocky and you doubted me like Adrian and Paulie. Tranquilito se acabó. I bid you fairly well. My turntables might have wobbled, but they never really fell. Your love was conditional, so I'm back out on the ocean with dynamite inside my fishing boat.
Wow. I feel like you know, as an actor, you know, it's like, why is he holding it with two hands, right? And it's like, well, it's like that's a home feeling. Like that's like, yo, I don't get hugged enough, so I'm hugging this wine. I'm hugging this, like, you know, this escape, you know, while I'm going through this vision. He said it only takes a minute for us to go from look at us to look at that.
Look at that.
Jesus.
Nah, shit is different.
That's the show, ladies and gentlemen. That's a bar. There it is.
Only takes a moment.
Does that so effortlessly. J Electronica.
I got the mix back for that the night my daughter was born. I was in the room while my girl was in labor, and I got the mix, and we was sitting there when she was getting the epidural, and I was like,
oh man,
all right, my Robbie just did the mix. Because I mean, I was with Jay when he did that, but
yeah, it's funny. If you don't got any kids, sometimes they tell you, as a father, do you want to stay in the room for this epidural part? You don't have to, you know. Did you stay in the room for that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
That's a whole nother pod. But like that's a bar in a spinal cord. That's no joke. And I think when they say they actually, if the husband wants to be there, because sometimes you don't want to flinch, you don't want to, you know what I'm saying? Like some people get emotional about that, but you went through it, and you heard the verse, and you're listening to it, and you're having the greatest day of your life. That must have been one of the greatest experiences ever. When he says this line, it's like sometimes it's annoying. Like Q-Tip said on the Busta Rhymes joint, right? iTunes it, YouTube it, and it can never be refuted. And like iTunes and YouTube has been up on my computer like the whole time for years. It's been right next to each other. I've never saw iTunes it, YouTube it. I never saw that. Like, does that get you still like, man, I wish I would have thought of that?
I have that thought way more with R&B than I do with rap. Yeah.
Still lyrical in what they're presenting.
Yeah. But it's small things that make me like really feel like, damn, I wish I would have wrote that type of thing. But like I mean, Jay's verse was like one of shit.
We drink them, got drunk, like shit like that.
I mean, like not so much that per se.
That was fire.
I mean, T-Pain to me, everyone knows T-Pain is one of my goats. 2000s T-Pain is on the Mount Rushmore of everything. Like T-Pain is a goat to me, just as far as music influence go.
For sure.
But
I don't care what people say. I don't care. You know, I'm a Knicks fan, so like I don't really care. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we got one more to go to get to the second round. Try to get to the second round. I'm not so hurt and banged up. I'm all about the purity of what I heard from it and why I love it. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what the outside. I'm from the Bronx already. I'm born and raised in the home of the hip hop. Like, I don't really care what you say after that. Everything y'all saying is second nature. I feel like the people that created hip hop and allowed hip hop to breathe was happening so that the kids will have a place other than gang violence and fighting. And I was kids in 1983. You know what I'm saying? So I feel different. That's why I thought this podcast would be good, because we get to talk about those moments.
The J verse that you played,
Yeah.
so back to the Jesus Lord verse when he's talking about Tepoztlan, Mexico.
Yeah.
We recorded that in Tepoztlan, Mexico. And
you was with him out there.
Yeah, we had
Jay
crew out there.
Electronic is a monk, everybody. Like, how did he live? Was it like
I mean, I'm not going to give too much of Jay's personal life, but if you know enough about the Nation of Islam and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, you know that Tepoztlan is very important to their ministry. So yeah, we hiked the mountain to go to the pyramid that day. Yes, that was our spot, and a lot of great music is coming from that area.
Yeah.
Already of what we did, but yeah, that was one of the verses. You know, I just put my music out quicker. That's all.
As it's like almost like when you had that Skip Bayless moment of going, oh, now I see, now I'm in the league, I get that part. Do you see now that you're closer to it, greatness in hard drives, and it just not coming out because of, say, like you just said, like, will come out from that, and it's still like it hasn't come out. We always looking for a new J Elect verse and an album and a project. Do you feel like you understand more now that there can be still greatness in these athletic minds, but they're still in the hard drive?
Yeah, because I understand why they stay there. Because I can look at a written testimony and look at 1,000 songs that are in the hard drive that I think are incredible, if not better than some stuff on written testimony.
Really?
Or Exhibit C that stay there because it's not the right time.
Right.
Which is hard to explain unless you're there. Like, this doesn't make sense now.
Right. No, that's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. And here's another record. Let's play that second one. This is my joint right here.
My phone can die. I don't need nothing but you and my phone can die.
I don't need nothing but you and
Wow. Now, sometimes people gonna say that I'm reaching, but like, was there a double entendre with I in watching the video? And I have an album called Dying Near a Charger, and she sings, my phone can die, I don't need nothing but just you and I, and that's exactly what is being taken away when we're stuck in our phones, is our eyes. That's exactly what opens our phones these days. So was there a double there, and did you and why those lyrics?
Ari started that idea, and no, there is an entendre with the I, because the beginning of it is, I don't need X videos. I like, everything is I of everything that I'm looking at all times that's distracting me from ever finding actual love and companionship. That's how deep that goes. It's funny that you actually caught that, but yeah, the I has to do with everything.
That's my job.
With that.
That's what I do.
Yeah, like even how Ari started just riffing in the beginning of X videos. I don't need that. Like, a lot of us,
people don't know. I'm sorry, people don't know a double entendre has to have some kind of layer of a sexual innuendo as well. If you didn't know, it's usually about someone, something, and to an effect of some kind of layer of a sexual kind of connotation or innuendo, as you could say. So people be like, yo, that's a double entendre. And it's like, no, it's not. You know what I'm saying? If it doesn't have some layer of love or lust, it's not.
And it even down to like Black Mirror shit, they're
right.
It's a lot. That's why that keeps getting brought back up. I. Yeah. So it's actually funny you picked up on that entire thing.
Yeah.
It started out with all distractions. The song it sounds very simple. It's a very basic record as far as records, like as far as lyrics go.
Drums wise too. I know this is a lyric show, but drums wise are stupid though.
Shout out to Diesel. Diesel went crazy on those fucking drums.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now those drums.
Diesel, if you know Diesel, that does like a lot of cold shit. Yeah, Diesel did those drums. That was one of those that started out like, I was going to listen to Ari's second album, which ended up being ASL, and I was working on my shit, and we had done like 2 or 3 records that just didn't really make sense yet.
Yeah.
And I didn't think we were gonna get one on the album just because that was not our relationship. Like if we don't have one, cool, because we friends for real.
Right.
And she had played like I don't even think there may have just been one chord on it, and her saying the X videos, I don't need nothing. And I was like, all right, let's go off this shit.
Yeah.
And once Elite was in there that night, and once that was done, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna bring this to my favorite artist of all fucking time when it comes to writing, which is James Fauntleroy. It's not even close. Cocaine 80s defined my entire life. Having him on this was bigger than having Hove on this. Like that was my version of the best feature of all time. Like if I had a bucket list, it was him. Right. So I sent it to him. It didn't even take that fucking long, which was crazy to me. And
some of the greats, it's like breathing at that point. I love, I love when they do that. I love that does that. The Game. When the Game goes in the booth, it sounds like the finished record. Like the first time he spits it, like, you know what I mean? Like that skill level of, that elk.
What's funny is I had not met James yet. So I had sent it through a mutual friend, and I hit Terrace Martin. I hit Rance. I hit everybody on the West Coast that was around him. And they were like, I mean, James, like this mythical figure.
Yeah.
And then when I finally got a hold of him, he was like, oh, you want to be on that record? I thought you just wanted me to like listen to it. And I was like, nah, I wanted you on it. He finished that shit in like 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah, dope. And just even in the connotation of how he lays with her record, they sound like they was in the studio together.
Oh, Albie, I Frankensteined that entire thing.
Yo, big shouts to Frankenstein saving a lot of careers out there.
I don't think you understand what I did with that record.
It sounds like it was in the same room.
I played you both sides of that, which I'm snitching on myself.
Nah, it's cool.
I put that entire fucking record together.
Yeah.
You have no I like repitched certain stuff to make it sound like this was a different part. I only had so much because Ari was putting her shit out at that time, and I wasn't.
You were saying you were running into that.
James is working on Bruno shit at that time.
Right.
I had to Frankenstein what I had and put together an actual, like what people do with AI now is what I did with that record personally.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
like redid drums, redid bass. That shit was a task to make that a fucking song.
That's putting on the jersey. That's
you
like
have no.
That's like Curry. That's like going to the locker, seeing your number.
No, that's putting on the jersey. That's putting on the Space Jam shit with me, Azad, and Robbie with my engineer, and calling in new bass players. Like, all right, we have this.
Right.
How do we put her vocal through the synth to make it sound like it's something else? We Frankenstein that fucking record.
Nah,
there was like 4 or 5 bars that I made out of a Ari verse, and then cut like a 12 and made that a whole record.
People don't know. Sometimes you don't want to go, hey, that's Jose in the Mickey Mouse outfit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to ruin the illusion. Like Lauryn Hill said that, right? She said when on the Unplugged, she was like, they brought us through the back. You see, you get to see the thing. But like even Black Thought and Big Pun never met each other physically. Super Lyrical was done like that, was Frankenstein.
Did you ever see that interview that Black Thought is talking about that? I put that together.
What do you mean the interview? The interview where
it's just him sitting by himself backstage at the Jimmy Kimmel show talking about putting that together.
Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon?
Jimmy Fallon, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Nah, it's it's 2 Jimmys. Nah, I never heard. I was there, so like I know the story, and I also know that Pun was supposed to be on Adrenaline, and Beans winds up getting on it because Pun got arrested that night at Rikers. Because of Super Lyrical, but because the fans was like, damn, they sound so dope together. Like when they rapping together, it sounded so connected. So when I hear this record, and for you to tell me that you Frankenstein and people don't understand, sometimes you just gotta, you gotta create a monster because you believe that it's supposed to be alive. And that's why you say that when it's done, you go, it's alive. Like, yeah.
And it's not to take away from them, because Ari by herself is Ari and James is James. But yeah, with the parts they sent, when I sent that back to them, they were like, oh, this is a fucking record. What the fuck? Yeah. Ari was like, yo, I'll do the video. and I mean, obviously schedules, but
Yeah.
the only reason I was able to even put that out with major labels with Ari and Dreamville and Interscope was because I Frankensteined it and made it a fucking song, and it was undeniable.
Shouts to everybody over there, like and giving you that shot too, to let you, because music like that with a message like that, you don't even know what that did. You saying Baby making music and R&B, like having these bars, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I love about this third record though. I want you to be able to talk about it when it comes. Let me hear that one.
You think that money alone's the root of being happy? You're too pretentious, subconscious, pride and driving. Ladies, always done up, but I doubt you look in the mirror lately. I know the mirror would say, who are you anyway? Who are you anyway? Who are you anyway?
Yeah, before we go, I had to get your thoughts on this one because it feels like enough a little bit too. It feels like that in the sense of I feel like I got it. And then here's this one word anyway that fucks it all up for me. Like that goes, okay, it was about me. And you know what I'm saying? The way he laid anyway, because right there you can lay anyway. Who are you? You can bring up the you and question the anyway, and now it is talking about somebody. You know what I'm saying? For him to lay it like that, we don't got much time, but I really that record, I was like, man, Rory's killing it. Rory's killing it over there. What made those lines come out like that?
So the original version of that writing was actually about a girl. When I was sitting with Leon in Quad, by the way, because I don't think Quad ever makes R&B music. That's why I love that record was done in Quad.
I think you make me better with done in Quad. I don't know.
I was having that conversation with Leon of, hey, like, all right, do we want to just do a regular, like, talking about a girl, like, what are you doing on the road? Like, this person, like, your nose, this, you on vacation with this and that. Is it really going to resonate? Can we make it sound like we're talking about ourselves or somebody else? Like it could be in question, it'll be easier for the consumer to connect to it depending on how they're feeling. Because to me, it's a self-reflection record. But I've had people say like, oh, y'all tearing that chick up. And I'm like, nah, I'm actually talking about myself.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. And this, my friend, on That's a Bar is what we call pregnant lines. It's a pregnant line because you think it's one thing, but it could give birth to a whole nother meaning for you. But go ahead, continue.
Yeah, like even when I got back to the crib with my child's mother and she was like, did you tear me up again on a song? I was like, nah, I'm talking about myself.
Right.
Yeah, like a lot of it is a self-reflection record. And I think why it was worded that way is why it could be interpreted that way.
Right.
Anyone's hearing it the way they want to interpret it. Who are you anyway? If you feeling a certain way and you're mad at somebody, you could take those bars and go, who are you anyway? But if you feeling some type of way, you can look at yourself and go, who are you anyway?
Well, the first time we heard someone really talk to the mirror, like what Man in the Mirror, and we don't really break down these verses, you know what I'm saying, of what Man in the Mirror did and what Dirty Diana was. Dirty Diana was about an actual, groupie. So there's somebody getting ripped, but the song and how he's laying it, he's sounding so in love with her still, paralleling the judgment that he's giving her. You guys in this one, man, when I was listening to it, I was like, yeah, I am reflecting because anyway hit me like, oh, is he? Am I talking? Yeah. And then it grew on me. At first, I thought it was about somebody, and I was like, oh, that's the genius part right there. That's the part with the poetry I love.
Because I mean, if you've ever had like somewhat of a healthy argument or debate with your girl or whatever, and you start talking about certain things about what she's doing with her friends, this and that.
It's like a mirror.
And if you go through the therapy shit of like how you project and the things that you're looking at her about, a lot of those times it's probably what you're thinking as well with yourself. If it's in that type of situation,
right?
Maybe you're looking at your own crew that way. maybe you are looking at yourself that way. Maybe you are not yelling at her, you're yelling at yourself, and she is just now the audio punching bag to everything that you're mad at yourself about. And that's how the song turned from looking at what someone else was doing to like, damn, maybe it's me that this is. Maybe I just project my verbal bullshit on you, and it's how I feel about myself. You know, it's still a song, so you have to keep it where
amazing. It's amazing, amazing record, and I really do appreciate that layer, you know, because nobody want to be preached to. So you know, here's a moment where even the second time he brings it in, right? There's a "Who Are You Anyway?" And I think Alicia Keys would have stretched out anyway and kind of killed her anyway, in like, you know what I'm saying? To come back to it, right? Who are you anyway? It's almost like, okay, now I remember that we've once had a connection. You lost yourself. You also lost what you thought you were. You're lost. And who better to find you, you know what I mean, than yourself. But in the context of how, when you answer me, it should be with a confidence, right? Like, you know, like if a prince from a kid from a kingdom was lost and they go, yo, who are you? He's like, yo, I am, you know, John from this and this and that, and this is the lineage. It's like, this is who I am, and we used to have that. It was really important for me to have you on this podcast, really, for this record as well, because I wanted people to go back to it or listen to it, because that layer is not a judgment, but a remember too. Like, remember, like, that you're not this other stuff, that you are somebody else. You almost being an asshole to yourself. You know what I'm saying, Pauls? You know what I'm saying? It's like just this asshole, like you have to be that in order to even find the answer.
It was the only record that I wanted to lead with. Like, I thought even my own friends on, like, I have records that are ready to go that are great, but this was the only one I wanted to do. And I even talked to Russ. I talked to Vince Staples.
Really?
Both were ready. We opened verses on it. And I even talked to Leon. Kind of going back to your game point of when somebody gets in the booth and lay something that this is it. Like, I don't want to mess with the energy we had this night. Anytime I tried to mess with this record, I went back to the original. I only wanted to stick with that. And it had to be the only one that went out first. Also kind of defined the sound too. Like, Hip Hop DX did an amazing review of my first project. And at the end, he had said, the project is great. It's sequenced great. It pushed some type of boundaries as far as putting rappers on R&B in this time, but it didn't change the landscape of music right now. And what pissed me off when he said that was that I agreed with him. The only way I wanted to lead with this next project was to do some jungle UK R&B shit with some very introspectful bars. Like, I'm trying to push the genre. Like, as much as I love my first album, I agree. It's cool. Like, I love it.
It's a dope joint.
But it's just cool to me. Like, it didn't push any boundaries. It was a good first album.
Yeah. I just need you not to be so hard on yourself, because like, even because we don't. It's good because it's called evolution. You know, you shouldn't be the same person you was yesterday. I love the fact that you took chances, and that, because when you do, I think the future appreciates it. I think that raw green, like, I think people that are just picking things up, you know what I mean? Like, they appreciate it a lot different. Like, my daughter could play, a 19-month-old that could play with a box for hours, like, you know what I mean? Because it's new to her, the material of the cardboard, and her wonder, you know. And in your wonder, you was explaining these things like this. Now, this record, I do want to talk about the video, because another, why didn't I think of that? Like, you know what I'm saying? It was right there, the ID, and the, like, so who was the first one to go, it should be that? What's that concept of the video? What made you do that lyric video like that with the ID?
Oh, I mean, that was I'm gonna put his at, because it's like a bunch of letters. He did the Phone Can Die animations as well. But I mean, that entire concept was mine. That is my actual ID. Dope. Like, I took a photo of my ID.
Yeah.
That wasn't like animation. Like, that was my, because I don't know. I feel like the who are you anyway concept of how we were talking about how anyone could interpret that is really how we look at ourselves, and our ID doesn't necessarily mean who we are. Like if I pass my ID and my photo and my birth date, you don't know a fucking thing about me, like at all. And
we know you can get into Santos. We know you can get into
exactly.
Santos.
I've given fake IDs. I've given everything. Like how you present yourself based off what's legal or what's accepted or what's people want from you, because that's really what an ID is. This is the terms of what we deem acceptable of who you are. Pass me that, and that's who you are.
Right.
We get engulfed in that entire thing, but that doesn't necessarily mean who we are, and that we can take it behind that. We can mask everything. Like it was the easiest and most affordable way, because I'll add that into this entire thing. Because I think artists need to hear that. Sometimes our concepts need to be affordable.
I mean, you don't write. You're not supposed to write with the money in mind
at all.
But when you start chiseling of what you can handle, it could go into that. How do you feel, really quick? How do you feel about the AI? Is it a tool, or is it going too much? Like
it's a tool. It's the same as anything.
I agree.
The internet. It's a tool if it's used properly.
I agree.
Yeah, it's like the most loaded question ever right now.
No, I know.
I use it like I've broken down stems that I could never break down before. It's like the greatest tool when I need that. But
no, I thought ChatGPT was just a really flex to Google. We was doing the same thing. We threw away the yellow pages, and whatever's after that. That's what we go. You remember we had MapQuest, and that's how we had to get
printed it out.
Yeah. Now whatever. Now
remember before when you just figured it out?
Yeah. Remember you looked at the sun and you knew it was 12 o'clock. And you knew it was 12 o'clock.
Remember when he was like, "Yo, just give me the 40 deuce, so I can figure it out from there."
Yo, remember when 40 deuce was 40 deuce? Yo, we gotta go. That's a bar, man. Yo, thank you so much, Rory, for being a Knicks fan still and riding with us forever.
Oh, of course,
thank
forever.
you for being a Barcelona kid, and thank you, man, because music is important to you, and you never let it die, and people could pick up your music's, just anywhere in the world and have the experience, not an experience of podcast, not an experience of anything else you did, but just why your intentions and why you layered that song like that. And so we thank you for coming over here at That's a Bar and just, letting us know. I hope to, and I want to go to the set one time with you and Maul. I was there one time on the phone.
Called in,
briefly, but I think I should pull up on y'all and we could chop it up a little bit more. But man, thank you so much, and love to the family, and see you soon.
Peace, bro.
That's a bar. We out. You felt stuck, you felt the pen was all you needed. Way before the liquor or the weed, it was the future that you wrote, believing. Even when you lost your job and everything around depleted, you was born to find it, and the exit never let you leave it. All that hood inside of you, the verbs is a free throw. There isn't much to say, how you save a super Negro. There's not a trophy or an accolade for fathers we know. They never see the journey, they convinced we got the cheat code. But we chose that tax bracket though, that kept us lean though. Museum walls for the living room was a statement. Me existing is an exhibit to learn what great is. We just visiting the rise, well they took our spaceships. Make it make sense before you came went. Write it down like you want lightning now without the rain in. Clear a sky, don't wet the eyes, that's so you shapeless. Know the lefts and the rights, that's what amazement. We blew big triggers in big tickets basement. We grew quick spitters from the farm system, they pitch. You left the elevators with a corner presentation. This razor wasn't really made to hug a neck, but there's fighting for food and fighting for respect. Fighting for the next chip, somebody paid the refs. Not to worry, I'll be winning by a lot in early average 80 passes crazy. The world ends when I die, that was true until I had a Katie. And the memory's the one that take me far beyond the octagon, the fight is on. For anybody that can ignite the palm inside the lung, I'll breathe the air inside the pond. And ask him, was he ever proud? Smiling up or shining down on anything out profound. They were shooting rounds for pounds round the ghetto. Sound was loud like the label. Now I'm proud that I'm able to Live from the bowels of the ghetto. I say a pun verse, just a style on the devil. I know it's all soul like Bilal on some levels. I rep the bevel that mother this rap shit. AI couldn't teach me to practice. Stay fly, keep your pockets attractive. Pay by, and I wrapped it in plastic. Make time, cause me and Roly is just rolling and rapping. And these Latins went platinum. Back when T-Boz was packing a Mac 10. Way before Steve Jobs was packing a Mac 10. The bullet left scars, but the pain left the accent. We're a whole entity. Came through a sweater on my entity. I'ma keep sketching heaven off memory. I was there yesterday, it was heavenly. I'm okay with raising all of y'all apparently. Life ain't fair, so they claiming Pharisees. Over my career, exposure wasn't resi me. What's up, guys? This is Albe back, and this is That's a Bar podcast. You are rocking with us. You are believing in the believables that we can achieve real rap, real music, real poetry. Again, I believe it too, and you're going to get a lot of that here, right here on That's a Bar podcast. So subscribe, follow, believe with the believables. We believe that we can do this. You already know that's a bar. The believables, that's a bar.